Hey guys, vocal coach Ken Taylor here, and today I wanted to chat with you for a minute about how to practice singing, or how to improve your singing with practice. You see, one of the questions that I get all of the time is, how much should I practice singing? And to me, it's not really a factor of how much you practice singing, as it is how you practice singing. So I wanted to give you guys at least what I think is a really good guideline for practicing a song and practicing it with your voice. The first thing that you want to do whenever you take time to practice is take 5, 10, 15 minutes to do a vocal warm-up. Because you want to make sure that your voice is in the perfect placement, or at least the best placement possible, for you to be singing for extended periods of time. Now, I've already made a video on how to do this, and you can check it out by clicking on the link either in the video or just below the video. After you get done doing your vocal warm-up, it's time to move on to your song. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of singers make when it comes to practicing their song is they press the play button and they sing through the whole song, and then they go back to the beginning of the song, they press the play button, they sing through the whole song, they do it over and over and over again for 20, 30 minutes, maybe even an hour. And the thing is, practicing this way will help you to an extent. You will get a little bit better, but it's only going to be a little bit because there's really no depth to what you're doing. Because the reality of the situation is, once you hit the play button, once you're 20, 30 seconds into a song, you're going to go on autopilot. And so your focus isn't going to be as extreme or as deep, and you're really not going to get as much out of it. So how can you best practice a song? Well, the thing that I like to do is to break it down into really small chunks and to practice it on different levels. Okay? So the first thing that I want you to do is take your song and break it down into the different sections. So you have a verse, a chorus, a verse, a chorus, a bridge, a chorus, or whatever the sections might be, okay? And from there, I want you to break it down into 1 or 2 line sections, okay? Now we're gonna practice these 1 or 2 lines at a time, and we're gonna go over and over them. I know that sounds really boring, but let me tell you why and how. We're going to go over and over them and perfect them on several different levels, okay? The first level is just to make sure that you get all the pitches right, and all of the words right, okay? Now this is really basic, and this is about as far as most people get when they sing through a whole song, time and time again. They're only really focusing on the pitches and the words and maybe a little bit of something else, but you can't really comprehend more than 1 or 2 things at a time. You can't focus on more than 1 or 2 things at a time. So once you do that enough that that's habit, which should be relatively quickly, I want you to start thinking it from a vocal technique perspective. Do you have a steady flow of air creating the sound? Is this comfortable? Is this balanced? Okay? And once you find that balance and you feel comfortable singing it, and you feel like you have good vocal technique, I want you to practice it on a different level. I want you to go and think about it from a phrasing level. Are you going to sing it where it's a little bit more broken up, a little bit more cut and dry, or is it going to be really smooth and legato? Okay? If it's a smooth section, make it smooth. If it's a little bit more staccato and broken up, make it that way. Most songs go back and forth. If you listen to just about any song, especially in popular music, it's going to alternate back and forth between smooth and being a little bit choppy, and being smooth and being a little bit choppy. And you want to make sure you have that element in your singing. Once you have the phrasing section set up, then I want you to go and practice it on a level of style. Do you want to add a run here? Do you want to add a different vocal inflection here? Do you want to bend a note in a certain way? All of these different things are going to add a tremendous depth to your song and how it's received by others. And that's what we really want to do. We don't just want to sing words and sing the right notes. I mean, that you can practically look at on a sheet of paper. A computer can do that. No, what we want to do is really be able to convey the emotion of a song. And by looking at your song and practicing your song on all of these different levels, especially in smaller sections, you're going to be able to add those elements in there. And the great thing is, when you practice it on this 1 or 2 lines, on all of these different levels, over and over, then once you perfect it, it's going to be habit. It's going to become habit. You're going to have that in your muscle memory, so that when you move on to the next section and you do it with the next section, and then you come back to it, it's just going to 85-95% of it's going to be there. You're not going to have to focus on all of those different things again. It's just going to be there. So you do that and you add more, add different sections together. and then you go on to the chorus, and you add sections of the chorus together, and then you add the verse and the chorus together until you add the whole song together. And to me, that's one of the most effective ways to practice your song. It's a way to create a real depth to your song that most singers really never accomplish because they're too busy practicing the words and the pitches, singing the whole song over and over. So, just to recap real fast, when you're practicing singing, I want you to do a handful of things. One, make sure you do a warm-up, 5, 10, 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be a really, really long thing. But do a warm-up, get your voice in the right place. And then break the song down into small sections and practice each of those small sections on many different levels. Once again, different levels that I mentioned, and you can add your own, but different levels that I mentioned were making sure the pitch and the words are correct, and then making sure you have good vocal technique, and then making sure the phrasing is there, and then choosing what stylistic elements you want to add. Once you do all of those things, piece those smaller pieces together. Put those smaller pieces together into larger chunks, like a verse, a chorus, and then put the whole song together. Once you do that, you're going to have a real depth to your song that's going to speak to people on a much deeper level than, once again, just practicing words and notes. So, I hope this helps. If you enjoyed this video, I want you to do me a favor. Go to facebook.com/singingtips and join our page. Here we're creating a community of singers. Right now it's 3,000 people strong. It's probably going to grow to be significantly bigger than that. And what we're doing is we're getting together, we're asking questions, we're giving answers, we're sharing our experiences. I'm on there, multiple times a week, sharing articles and videos just like this one, and answering, different singers' questions like yours, And I think it's a really great tool for us to help each other as singers, and just to grow. So, once again, check it out. It's facebook.com/singingtips. I hope to see you there, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and be on the lookout because there are more to come.